The past is a foreign country, as the popular saying goes, and after watching today's Top 10, you'll feel like that too, because today we've gathered for you the most amazing tourist attractions from around the world that sadly don't exist anymore. Some of them don't exist because of natural causes, and some because we destroyed them for one reason or the other. And some others, thankfully, are being rebuilt in the best way they can. Let's take a trip down memory lane and see the glorious past unfold right in front of your eyes. Number 1 is the Crystal Palace, London, in the UK. The Crystal Palace, apart from the magnificent name, was a magnificent structure as well, made of cast iron and plate glass. Originally built in Hyde Park in London, its purpose was to house the Great Exhibition of 1851. This Victorian masterpiece was later moved to Penge Place in South London, and it was where it remained for the remaining 82 years of its life. In the grounds of Crystal Palace, you could find a roller coaster, festivals, cricket matches, but the most beautiful and bizarre thing was the garden with the model dinosaurs. Unfortunately for all of us, the building was destroyed in a fire in 1936, and nobody knows if it was intentional or not until today. The remnants of Crystal Palace today include terraces, sphinxes, model dinosaurs, and a bust of its designer, Sir Joseph Paxton, and they can be seen at the site, which has been renamed Crystal Palace Park. Number 2, the Buddhas of Bamiyan, Afghanistan. The Buddhas of Bamiyan were 2 gigantic Buddha statues, with the smaller one or the eastern one being 38 meters high and the larger or western being 55 meters high. They were the tallest Buddha statues in the world, and they dated back to the 6th century, with the eastern Buddha built around 570 AD and the western around 618 AD. The statues consisted of the male Salsal, the light shines through the universe, and the smaller female Shamama, Queen Mother. I like that one, as they were called by the locals. But in 2001, these amazing monuments were destroyed by the Taliban, and the only thing that remains today are the vacant alcoves in the cliff. The valley was labeled a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2003, and although there's been much talk and debate about rebuilding them, the closest thing so far has been holograms projected in the space they occupied. Of course, it would be the same, but let's hope they can rebuild them soon. The Porcelain Tower of Nanjing, Nanjing, China. The Porcelain Tower of Nanjing was designed during the reign of the Yongle Emperor, and its construction began in the early 15th century. In 1801, the tower was struck by lightning, which caused the top 4 floors to be completely destroyed, but it restored relatively fast. But less than 50 years later, during the Taiping Rebellion, the tower was in danger again. The rebels smashed the Buddhist images and destroyed the inner staircase to deny the Xing enemy an observation platform. In 1856, the Taiping destroyed the tower completely because, as legend has it, they were afraid of its geomanic properties. In 2015, the tower was reborn in the form of a modern steel and glass construction, complete with multiple viewing platforms and surrounded by a futuristic Buddhist-themed museum. Let's hope this time it'll last. Number 4, the Sutro Baths in San Francisco, California, USA. The Sutro Baths were largely privately owned public saltwater swimming pool complexes at the Land's End area of the Outer Richmond District in western San Francisco. Why did it make the list? Hey, all you got to do is look at the photos and drawings right here. When it opened in 1896, it was considered to be the world's largest indoor swimming pool establishment, and even though people seemed to love it, it struggled financially because many years of the high operating and maintenance cost. Finally, Sutro Baths closed in 1966 and later burned down in June of the same year. Today, nothing remains from the Victorian beauty apart from concrete walls, blocked-off stairs and passageways, and a tunnel with a deep crevice in the middle. Spooky. Number 5, the Lovelocks Bridge, Paris, France. Since 2008, couples that went to Paris declared their love by putting a padlock or a love lock with their initials or names engraved on them to the railing or the grate on the side of the bridge. Then they threw the key into the Seine River, and by 2012, this gesture became a bit unbearable for the bridge, with all those locks being attached upon other locks and city workers starting to cut them off. 2014 saw more than 700,000 love locks on the bridge, and the Parisians started to really not like the aesthetic of it. So, this, coupled with the fact that it was now a serious safety issue, saw 3 panels of the bridge replaced with a special glass, and searched for materials that people could not put a love lock on. Some couples were determined to keep it going, though, so they started putting them on lampposts nearby. Whatever happened to rings, people? Number 6, Weria Falls, Paraguay, Brazil. Until 1982, on the border between Paraguay and Brazil, lay one of the most powerful and beautiful waterfalls in the world. These falls comprised 18 cataracts clustered in 7 groups, and that's where they took their Portuguese name from, because Sete Caídas means 7 falls. The falls were located at a point where the Parana River was forced through a narrow gorge. At the head of the falls, the river narrowed sharply from a width of 1,250 feet all the way down to 200 feet. The total height of the falls, approximately 375 feet, while the largest individual cataract was 130 feet high. How about a more amazing fact? The roar of the plunging water could be heard from 20 miles away. In October 1982, the falls were closed and dynamited to create the Itapu Dam, which now provides 75% of the electricity used by Paraguay and 25% of the electricity in all Brazil. Destroyed for a good reason, yes, but still, the natural beauty that was lost is something to mourn. Number 7, Palmyra Home, Syria. This ancient city, which was built in the 3rd millennium BC, combines Greco-Roman, Persian, and Arabian architecture. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it includes ruins of the Temple of Baal, the Great Colonnade, Damascus Gate, and a Roman amphitheater. Unfortunately, on different dates in 2015, ISIL destroyed many of the monuments that they promised not to do, including the Lion of Alat, the Temple of Baal Shaman, and the Cella of Temple of Baal. And later on the same year, it also became known that ISIL had destroyed 3 of the best-preserved tower tombs, including the Tower of Elabel. There is talk about restoration projects, but all have to be postponed until after the violence ends in Syria. Number 8, the Hippodrome Theater, New York City, USA. This giant 5,697-seat Hippodrome was a theater in New York City located on 6th Avenue between West 43rd and West 44th Streets in the Theater District of Midtown Manhattan. Completed in 1905, it was the brainchild of entrepreneurs Frederick Thompson and Elmer Scipio Dundee, who enticed new middle-class customers with lower ticket prices and made theater accessible for everybody. But the theater itself was not middle-class at all. It had state-of-the-art theatrical technology, including a rising glass water tank. It had acts including numerous circuses, musical reviews, Harry Houdini's disappearing elephant, vaudeville, and silent movies. Want to guess what went wrong? They call it the Great Depression. In 1939, the New York Hippodrome was sadly demolished. Number 9 is the Royal Opera House, Valletta, Malta. This neoclassical jewel, known as the Royal Theater or Royal Opera House, was a performing arts venue in Malta, designed by Edward Middleton Barry, and it was erected in 1866. Although it had every reason to be successful, luck had other plans. In the 1870s, the venue was ravaged by fire and its interior was badly damaged. Although it was restored and reopened, a direct hit from an aerial bombing during the Second World War left it in ruins. Until 2013, it stood vacant. But then the Italian architect Renzo Piano, he repurposed it as an open-air performance venue. A happy ending, finally. Number 10 is the Chocolate Glacier in Bolivia. It was the world's highest lift-served ski area, and the rope tow, the very first in South America, was built in 1939 using an automobile engine, which was housed in the site's original clapboard lodge. The ancient glacier that sits within the Chocolate Mountain spanned 0.085 square miles back in 1940, but it rapidly decreased in size over the years. In 2009, it completely melted away 6 years earlier than predicted by experts. Well, there you have it for today. That's your top 10 most amazing tourist attractions that no longer exist. Which one were you sad to find out that it's no longer there, and why? Let us know in the comments below. Hey, and as always, we'd appreciate it if you'd like the video, support us even more, go right ahead and subscribe to the channel. And hey, turn on the notifications so you'll never miss another one of our top 10s. We'll see you next time.